Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Mai, and today's video is going to be this pair of very bright family homes that are kind of in the form of a duplex that I have built in the world of Ciudad Enamorada, which is the brand new world that came with the Love Struck expansion pack. And I'm really excited about these. I'm so glad that we finally got a Latin American inspired expansion pack because I can finally build homes that I am used to seeing. I am originally from Argentina, so these houses are actually like directly inspired by the houses that I grew up seeing a lot. It's almost directly inspired by one of my friend's childhood homes, actually. So this was just a lot of fun to do, and I'm so happy with the result, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think too. And as you can probably tell, our exterior is almost done, and one of the most interesting parts of this build is actually those covered porches. I really love them because where I'm from, it's not very safe. And a lot of houses have just those kind of metal bars up at the front of the house. And I thought that it was just such a realistic element to add to these houses. And like this genuinely, I don't know, it looks like a house that I grew up seeing. And it's definitely an unfortunate part of reality. So I don't know, it was kind of interesting just to add that to this build as well. Because obviously Sims 4 doesn't even have burglars, so it's a very safe community. And I don't know, it's just kind of one of those things that you add for aesthetics. But it looks really cool. I just used that chain link fencing from Get to Work, I think. And I don't know, it was just a cool thing to add. But yeah, each of these houses also has a little backyard, and one of these little houses at the back that are called quinchos, which are kind of like a pool house, kind of like a little almost barbecue house. Not like it's made of barbecue, but it's where a lot of people sometimes have another barbecue inside. And I don't know, they're just kind of like a multi-purpose room, almost like a shed or something like that. But I also thought that that was a really interesting element to add. Added a lot of realism for sure as well. As you can probably tell, I am just obsessed with all of the new items that this pack has brought that are just, I don't know, they bring more representation, which I'm really happy about. I also added a lot of these bars on the windows, like I mentioned before. It's a very common thing just for safety reasons. And I also added these cool new house numbers that came with the pack, which I love. And there you can probably tell after I placed the windows, or while I was placing the windows, I also created a little barbecue area that we're going to see later when I actually furnish the backyard. We're going to see more of that, but there are very specific barbecues that we use in Argentina, and they're not super easy to make in The Sims, but I did my best. I have done that before. I have tried to recreate one of those barbecues before in like a rustic farmhouse that I built that was also based off of a little farm that my family has. And yeah, so it was just kind of interesting. But yeah, right now we are placing some doors. We're just kind of doing all of the structural things that are identical in both houses because I did want a lot of like, I don't know, the flooring or yeah, definitely the door placements and stuff to remain fairly consistent throughout both houses. But things like, I don't know, like wallpaper and stuff, obviously that's different. But we are starting with furnishing the blue house, and we're starting with the entryway and also our little covered porch area, which we did keep fairly simple, just added a couple of mailboxes, and we will furnish the other one, like the other covered porch, when we actually furnish the house. But I just wanted to place the mailbox so that I wouldn't forget. But just added a lot of plants and that cool new patio chair as well, which I thought was interesting. Up front here, kept it pretty simple, just a rug. I think I also placed a coat rack, and of course our entryway table. I, for obvious reasons, used a lot of items from Jungle Adventure. The styles obviously match up a lot. They're both Latin American inspired, and I don't know, something tells me that they could have just been one pack, or I don't know, there's, you know what, I have a lot of criticisms about the way that the Sims team releases their packs, but I am happy with this one. I am happy with the inspiration, and of course there's like a couple issues of, I don't know, the worlds feel a little bit lacking and all of that, but I don't know. I don't want to be too much of a pessimist right now. I just want to enjoy getting to build houses that actually look like the ones that I grew up seeing. And here to try and kind of cover up this weird gap, because for some reason I hate how stairs just don't really line up with walls. But anyways, to hide that fact, I decided to put some shelves kind of in this scattered look just to try and pretend like that's not there. And there's also a little half bath down here, but I do furnish all the bathrooms off camera because if not, it would get very tedious. And we're starting off with the kitchen. For here, for this house, I use the counters from the For Rent expansion pack. I do later change the actual swatches into a brown one just because it looked a little bit nicer. It warmed up the space a little, but I really love these appliances that I've used in a teal color just to bring in the blue from the outside. While I don't actually keep like the entire theme blue inside and the other one yellow, I did try to like bring in a little bit, like at least as an accent color, so that I don't know if it's like to tell the difference, but just to like give it a little bit of a theme. And anyways, we're also going to be furnishing the dining room, the living room now. It's all one big open space, which I really like. And we're using the couch from Parenthood, and I think, yeah, just pairing it with that couch or that love seat from Base Game. And I really like this entertainment area that I create here because I didn't want to just use a hallway table, and I didn't really feel like a fireplace would fit in here. So instead, I just placed some of these Base Game cabinets and created like a whole entertainment station thing. And I also added a bit of an accent wall with that dark blue stucco. And I think I wrapped that all around to behind this bookshelf as well, just to bring in a little bit more color, because I did pick a gray, I couldn't remember the word for gray. I did pick a gray wallpaper, so I don't know, I feel like that kind of drains the life out of the room a little bit, so adding a little bit more color, adding some plants, and adding a bit more of those warmer woods really helps. And also a lot of plants. I don't know if I said plants yet, but yeah, adding a lot of plants I think really helps bring in life. And I think this is, oh no, not yet. I thought this was when I started to switch the counters. Oh, it was. See, I was just getting ahead of myself a tiny bit, but I do think that this looks way better than the white and the gray, just to add a little bit of warmth. And behind the dining table, I do also add that little hallway table just to kind of ground the paintings a little bit. I find that helps. I don't know if grounding is the word. You know what? I think that grounding is the word. And also, yeah, just a lot of plants. I don't actually put any like plantable planters on this side of the house. I think I give the other house some, but yeah, this one I actually kept pretty simple. And now here I am trying to place items on this like cabinet station thing that I made. I was trying really hard to find a surface that I could line up with it to place everything on the cabinets. And at one point I think that the counters line up with it, and I actually use a counter for it. But I actually figured out later, when I was kind of editing all of the final touches in post-production, that it actually doesn't, and everything was kind of floating a little bit. So the one that I found actually does fit is this new end table that came with Lovestruck. It's called like Harmonious something. It's like kind of wickery, kind of, I don't know, boho. But yeah, if you raise that up, it lines up with the cabinets perfectly, and you can place stuff on there and it looks good. But we have moved on to the primary bedroom here, and I decided to go with these cabinets as well. I end up lining it up on the other wall, and I move this door from, yeah, it's on this side, but I end up moving it over, and obviously I had to do it on the other side as well. But I tuck in this Seasons bed into those cabinets, and I created this whole new thing that I'm kind of obsessed with. And I don't actually know if you guys have ever tried that. I didn't actually play test it, so hopefully it does work. But yeah, it looks really cool, and I really like it, and it eliminates the need for a nightstand. So I don't know, it just looked a little bit interesting. But obviously the swatches right now in this room are kind of all over the place, but don't worry, I do end up fixing it, and I'm really, really happy with the results. Right now it's very, I don't even know how to describe it. But something that I wanted to mention is the next townhouse that I build is going to be my favorite. Like the yellow side, I don't know what I was on when I furnished it, but it looks so good and I'm really, really happy with it. So if for some reason you don't like the style of this one and you want to skip to that one, you totally, I give you full permission. But yeah, this one is definitely a little bit wackier. I think the fact that it was the first one that I was furnishing, I wasn't super sure about what I wanted, but once I got to the second one, I was just on my A game, and it looks amazing and I'm really proud of that one. But yeah, and you know, it's not to like bash on this one. I think this one looks great and I am really obsessed with the results of this bedroom. It took me a while, but it just, I don't know, there's something about this bedroom that is really cool. I think it's just very different. And yeah, this is where I'm kind of starting to solidify the final result. Not swatches yet. Here I am changing from because I was like really fixated on using the new wallpapers, but instead I used this one from Base Game to this like brown one just to kind of tie in the cabinets. And yeah, I decided to go with the green kind of tealy color and the brown. But I'm really happy with it, and honestly kind of surprised too, because at the beginning it was such a mess and now it looks so good. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you guys think about it too. I do really like kind of the interesting bed situation. Oh yeah, here's where again I'm using the counters. I think I might have, the items that are on here might still be floating because I kind of forgot to change it back. But if you don't look closely, then you can't really tell. Yeah, you can also download this on the gallery if you want to use it in your game, and you can also fix it yourself. I think that would be good. And anyways, we are working on the first of the kids' bedrooms, and I like the vibe in here. It's like very beachy and airy. I imagine that a teenager lives in this room. I imagine that they're very like social and they're probably, I don't know, maybe a little bit artistic. I kind of imagine that they're more like on their way out of the house, like they're almost done. I only really gave them a guitar for like skill building items because I decided to go with the double bed. I didn't really have a lot of room for skill building, so instead I kind of created like this little vanity using the pastel pop hallway table, and I think that bar stool is actually from the new Love Struck expansion pack, but it looks really cute and I really love that new mirror with all the photos. But yeah, this one, I imagine that, yeah, they're kind of almost done high school and they're ready to go. They're ready to live their own lives. And yeah, I think this room is really nice. I really like the way that this armchair looks with the pastel pop items. I feel like they have a very similar kind of bubbly vibe to them. Also with that heart-shaped end table, I think it looks super cute. And yeah, I end up changing the wallpaper in here after though. Once I start furnishing the other bedroom, I change it to one from like Parenthood or something that looks really cute. And I really like that heart-shaped lamp. Maybe they want to be a romance consultant. There's a lot of heart-shaped items in here, so maybe they're a bit of a romantic. Maybe they're a writer. I kind of like that idea. I can imagine them being a writer. And I also put those little picture frames. I can imagine that they obviously like photos because they have the mirror with all the photos, but yeah, maybe they have photos of all of their friends. And now we are going to be working on the last bedroom in here. And this bedroom actually ends up being directly inspired by my friend's little brother's room in Argentina, at least like what his childhood room looked like. But it was very like, you know, blue and sports, and I don't know, there's something about it that I think also even like the shape of the room is very similar to what his room looked like. So I just wanted to, I don't know, I just wanted to make it realistic. And I thought about putting a bunk bed, but I felt like it was a little bit too chunky, especially with the windows. It was just kind of blocking everything. So I did change my mind and I kept it a little bit simpler. And I also, you can probably tell, I've used the same wardrobe in all the rooms. In my head, they're all like built in. They're like structural in here. Or I don't know, like when they bought the house, they were decorating it, they just kind of decided to go with the same wardrobes throughout the entire house. I don't know what the story behind it is, but in here, this room actually ends up fitting a lot more stuff, probably because I used the single bed instead of the double bed. So yeah, this kid has a computer and they have a bookshelf and they just have pretty much everything that they would need. I definitely like made them really into sports, but I also feel like they're a bit of an overachiever. I can definitely see them really liking, I don't know, they really like school, and they're probably just like really smart and really active, just like a very kind of hyperactive kid. Like they always need to be doing something. So if it's not sports, it's school, and if it's not school, it's sports, and if it's not either of those things, it's just, I don't know, friends. Yeah, I feel like they're like a little like powerhouse kind of child, and the other child is more of like a, oh, soft, gentle, and like, I don't know, something like that. But I also had a lot of fun picking posters here. I really wanted some like sports themed ones, so I placed a lot of, I don't know, I can imagine that maybe it's their favorite athlete. Maybe it's Leo Messi. I think this is inspired by an Argentinian house, so it's most likely going to be Leo Messi on that wall. And yeah, a lot of jerseys as well. I just felt like that was very fitting. Yeah, I don't do a lot of sports themed rooms, but this one was, you know, it was fun to do. I really like the orange, kind of just complementing a lot of the blue. And I love that team photo. I think that it's so cute, and I wish that there were kind of like more swatches in it where, I mean, I know that there's like different swatches for the frames, but I think that it would be fun if there were different swatches for the jerseys as well. And here is a shared balcony that both of those kind of kids' rooms share. And yeah, I put a telescope out here and some seats. Maybe one of the kids really likes stargazing and they become an astronaut. That could be really cool. I can see that happening. But yeah, we're also going to be furnishing the hallway a little bit. Obviously, it's going to be really simple. I think I just end up putting a little cabinet. Yeah, just things that the family might need. Everybody needs like to be able to reach those things. And we're also going to be working on the backyard now. And both the houses have their own pools, which I'm really glad that I got to fit in. And the new like Riviera pack, I think, was just great for this. Obviously, like they got released together. Like the Riviera pack, I think, was definitely like supposed to be an accent for this expansion pack, so it makes sense that it looks good together. And yeah, I think it was just, it's nice, you know, this area gets really hot. I mean, I don't actually know where Ciudad Enamorada is, but I imagine that if it is based off of Latin America, it is going to be a very hot climate, and even having a little bit of a wading pool is really, really helpful. Definitely with climate change, and as the summers just got hotter and hotter, all of my friends' families managed to get at least a small pool in their yard. Like not really one you can swim laps in, but just one that you can, I don't know, save yourself from heat stroke in. And there you can see a little bit of the barbecue area. And for this extra space, I did decide to just kind of make it like a hangout area for the kids. For the other house, I turn it into like a laundry and dining room, but for this one, yeah, I decided to make it just a hangout space, and I put the washing machine inside, as well as adding a clothing line outside. In Argentina, it is more common to have like a washing machine and then a clothing line. Same in Europe, I feel like is more common. So I don't know, I just thought also added a little bit of realism to have that there. And I just place a little hallway table outside where I end up putting like kind of cleaning supplies and things like that. Yeah, just to help filling the space and add in a lot of that realism. But I also place a fan in here. I feel like the ventilation is maybe not that great. And I place some seating, and I place a boombox in that little corner as well. And yeah, more seating in here. I feel like they really do bring their friends over to hang out, and I don't know, probably just do things that you don't want to do in the house with your parents. Just talk loudly, listen to loud music, you know, all of that stuff. But we are now starting on the second house, and yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really excited for this one. This one is probably my favorite. Probably my favorite of like any house that I've built, I think. I don't know. Well, who knows? But I just really, really like the way that this one turned out. I think that it's super cute and so my style. I just really love all of the little details that I added. And for this one, going into it, I definitely had more of a storyline planned out as I was doing it. For example, I decided to use one of the bedrooms, one of the like extra bedrooms, as an office space, because in my head, one of the kind of like guardians, one of the owners of the house, is a romance consultant, so I like kind of molded it around that idea. Later on in my head, I was kind of like, oh, maybe in the other house, I kind of imagined both of the parents being teachers or something. Feel like that could be really interesting. But yeah, in here, I imagine one of them is maybe a romance consultant, and I didn't really think of like a storyline for the other person, or maybe it is just one adult in here. But over here for like the TV area, I decided to add a little bit of an accent wall as well. I think that it just looks really nice. I think that it really helps ground the space, and I did decide to use kind of the same entertainment like style or entertainment area idea, except I decided to add a little hallway table kind of sticking up at the top just to make it look a little bit different. And I really like it. And I also used that frame TV from the Modern Luxe kit, and I thought that that looked great, and it had all of the colors that I wanted. And I used those little armchairs from the new expansion pack, and I used the couch. I was gonna say love seat, no, but that's a full-on couch. I used the sofa from Growing Together, also had the colors that I wanted, and I also used the coffee table from Book Nook. I just really like the way that that living room turned out, and the kitchen as well is also probably, I don't know, it's so beautiful. I used the appliances from Growing Together. I really liked the green. I feel like that also ties in to the frame TV with the green that's in that as well. And I decided to use the yellow cabinets to kind of add a little bit of contrast with the brown counters. I was going to say cabinets again. A little bit of contrast with the brown counters. And I think the kitchen just looks really great. I decided to kind of wrap it around more, leave it less open, and use the other space as the dining area. I was going to say as the dining table, but it's a dining area. And yeah, I put in a microwave, I put in a kettle. If you've met any Argentinian or someone from Uruguay, you will know that they always have a thermos under their arm, and they have their mate, which is a tea that you drink out of a gourd, interestingly enough. But yeah, it's very characteristic of an Argentinian. In fact, anytime I think of my uncle, I always imagine him with his thermos under his arm and yeah, drinking his mate. So I felt like it was probably a good idea to put a kettle in here. And behind the dining table, I add this little like mirror. It's almost like a gallery wall, but it's a bit of a simpler gallery wall. I place that base game mirror and I kind of frame it with those two new paintings from the Love Struck expansion pack. And I really love how that looks. I think it looks really cool. And yeah, also place a little armchair just to kind of fill in that space. And also I start placing some plants around in here as well, just to add a little bit more life. Of course, the yellow already warms it up and makes it very bright, but yeah, you can never have too many plants, I find. I also really love those lace curtains that came with the Cozy Bistro kit. And we are starting off with the upstairs in what I've designated as the office space, and I just copy that bookshelf that I use downstairs, and I place a desk, and I also place this little couch that I kind of imagine, you know, it's almost, I don't think the romance consultant career actually functions like a therapist career, but in my head it sort of does, so that's kind of how I designed the office. And I really love these base game statues to use in a romance consultant's office. I feel like they fit so nicely. I feel like they just really feed that vibe. And because I really wanted to use that like painting, I decided to change the couch color to this purple one. And I still kept the yellow chair as just like an accent because I'm pretty sure yellow is the opposite of purple. So it's complementary. And I used this like harmonious chair or whatever it's called from the Love Struck expansion pack. I was gonna call it a kit from the Love Struck expansion pack, and I placed a plant on it. I just thought that looked a little bit interesting. And I also used this base game rug, which honestly in my head it looks like baby poop, but you know what, it matched the chair and it worked. Somehow it worked, but yeah, it still in my head looks a little bit like baby poop. And above the desk here, I also place, it's the same painting except in a different swatch, and I thought it just perfectly ties in the yellow from the chair and from the baby poop rug with, yeah, just having a similar vibe to the other painting. So they work well together, and I place another one of these little ottoman stools and this pile of books just to kind of bring the book theme from the bookshelf down a little bit, not have it be so isolated. And we are now working on the kids' bedroom, which I've decided to make a double bedroom. And yeah, we actually fit in quite a few things. I put in that desk and I place, I give them a computer, a wardrobe, everything that you could possibly need. And in my head, at some point, I also considered that maybe the guardians that live here are like these kids' grandparents. I don't know, just like a thought. You've been building, when you're building for a really long time, sometimes you just let your mind wander, and I started imagining that, I don't know, maybe it's their grandparents, they live with their grandparents, or I don't know, you can do whatever you want with this, but it's probably kind of annoying to have to share a room when there's a perfectly good room next door, but I imagine that they're best friends, so it's fine. Maybe they're twins. Didn't think about too much about the ages. I feel like this room is honestly pretty versatile for whatever age you want. But I did imagine that maybe one of them wants to be an artist and the other one wants to be a romance consultant as well, like their guardian. But yeah, I thought, I don't know, could be interesting. And they're definitely like overachievers as well. I think that they really like to get things done. They got really good grades and they're very studious and all of that. I did want to place a little lamp. I forgot the word for lamp. I did want to place a little lamp on the desk, but because of how sticky outy, oh yeah, that's a technical term. Because of how sticky outy that whiteboard is, I couldn't really fit it in, so I do place a water bottle and some pencils and just some books. But here on their balcony, I decided to place an easel because I did imagine that one of them was quite artistic, and then just a bench. This one I think is from Backyard Stuff, and I decided to place these new pillow clutter items that were from that weird log and reward event. And I don't know, I call it weird because I wish they would fix the glitches before they start, I don't know, creating weird events like that. I'm not bashing the pillows, I think they're great, but they could have just come with an update where they were also fixing the glitches. But yeah, I realized that I had forgot to place a curtain inside, and now we are finally moving on to the primary bedroom of this yellow house. And I sized up that fringe carpet. I thought it looked really cute. And yeah, this room just ends up feeling very classic because of how traditional it feels. That's kind of why I thought to myself, oh, maybe it's an older couple that lives here and runs the household. I also briefly considered adding some kind of hobby table over here, this archaeology one, but it just didn't really, I don't know, it felt really out of place. So instead I placed a vanity table, which I think looks even better. And yeah, this is just a really cute room. I really love those new armchairs that kind of look like shells. I think they look really cool, and I might end up having to place them in all of my builds. Sorry, not sorry. But I also place a little accent wall here, but instead of using the same one that I use downstairs, I use this wallpaper from, I think it's Island Living. And I actually liked this one so much that I end up replacing the downstairs weird accent wall with this wallpaper instead. And I do love it way more. So yeah, it was, all's well that ends well. And instead of putting lamps, table lamps, I decided to just put wall lamps and place some flowers on the end tables. And here at our vanity table, I'm just placing this little perfume tray and some tissues just to kind of make it look, in use and a little bit more realistic. And of course, our hallway. I had no idea how to furnish this hallway, so I do take a while to pick some rugs. In my head, I was looking for this base game square rug, but it took me a while to find. I do find it in the end, and we do place it. And yeah, just keep it really simple, just the same kind of idea of just a cabinet and just some wall decorations. Same thing I did on the other side, but I don't know, hallways are they're a weird room to furnish. And here in this backyard, I end up using the new curved pools, which came in the Lovestruck update. So you know how the Sims team always updates the game right before they release an expansion pack, and yeah, we got curved pools finally. Yeah, this one is also kind of similar style to the other one. It's really just a wading pool. It's not really one that you can swim laps in. And also placed some lounge chairs and the clothing line. And in here, like I had said before, I turn it into a dining area and also a laundry room, But because it's a small space, I was trying to figure out like the right layout for it, because we also have a lot of windows, which do make it a little bit difficult to place like the laundry items. So I thought about raising them up as well, but it just wasn't really working. So I do end up placing a half wall, just to create like an actual space to place the washing machine and everything without it looking a little bit funky, without it like clipping or anything. But yeah, it does take me a while to figure it out, because this is, I don't know, between the windows and the just like tininess, I don't know, tininess isn't really the word, but anyways, the size of the room and the windows just made it a little bit hard. But I figure it out. I place a column and I place a sink as well, which probably is like more functional in a laundry room. And yeah, I think I like that I was able to find, I mean, like I had said, it's a multi-purpose room. So the fact that this one is used as like a dining area and laundry room is just very fitting, with the other one kind of being more of a hangout space. I know people that have like, you know, their pool tables in here, or they have even like arcade games in this room. It really is like just a multi-purpose room. Sometimes it's just storage, sometimes it's like the fancy room where you have guests, I don't know. But yeah, I do really like how it turns out. I don't really know what I was checking in the other one. I think maybe, I don't know what I was checking in the other one just now. But yeah, I also placed a bike in here, like, you know, as if it's more of a storage space as well. And also find the fan, because I don't imagine that this one has good circulation either. And also these are the planters that I said that I placed in here too, because I don't know, maybe these people have a little bit more time for gardening. Maybe that's what the other person that lives here likes to do. They like to garden a lot. And here I really just wanted to like decorate this wall behind the pool. It felt very empty, so I kind of create this like kind of interesting little, I don't know, little like ladder of like plants and lights. I don't know, just to bring in some life on that wall. If not, it just looks really, really blank, which is not like frustrating, but I don't know. I just wanted it to have a little bit more going on. And also I always like to fill in like planters with more like just regular plants. I don't know, because if not, they look so empty and like alone, especially when like you don't have any actual plants in it yet. It just looks weird. Although I do know that sometimes if you place like the plants around it, they don't really, like the planters become, I don't know why I can't speak today. The planters become a little bit less functional, which is frustrating. But anyways, we are going to be working on the landscaping now. And I did keep the landscaping quite simple. I was already just like overstimulated with the amount of furnishing and building that I was doing. So I kept it super simple, just starting with the terrain paint, just to kind of get situated, there we go, just to kind of get situated with what we're working with. And of course my little low-lying pale flowers, which I love placing everywhere. And I was trying to look around to figure out what kind of landscaping I should do to make the build actually like look part of the world. But I don't know, I couldn't really grasp it. So instead I just do my classics with the overgrown flowers and with just trees and rocks and I don't know, just the basics. I really didn't want to go too overboard. I feel like the house is already quite, I don't know, it's just very overpowering. It's very bright and everything. So I didn't think it was super necessary to add a whole bunch of, I don't know, extra stuff around. And yeah, I feel like if not, it would be too distracting. So I kept it really simple, and I really like the way that it all turns out. I mean, I am happy with the landscaping. And over here, I also add some outdoor garbage cans just for everybody to use. Yeah, I think the yellow house people are definitely lucky that they have that little backdoor entrance as well. But oh my goodness, we are at the screenshots. I'm so excited. Here we have all of the extra little details that I added in post-production, especially on those like primary bedroom balconies, that I added like the planters and honestly, yeah, just a lot of plants on those balconies just to kind of make the facade look a little bit nicer. There you can see I'm really, really happy with how those turned out and just everything that they add to the build. I think that they make it a lot more realistic and a lot more full of life. But now we are going to be starting with the blue house. There you can see I added a little rug at the front door, and I also added some backpacks, and here we have our blue garage. I forgot to film the garage for the yellow house, but I I mean, you're gonna see a screenshot. I just kind of add a woodworking table and a bunch of clutter. And yeah, here we have our kitchen. I also just added a lot of clutter in here just to make it look that much more lived in. This is a family home, so we do need, yeah, we want it to look lived in. We want it to look a little cluttered. And here we have our blue half bath. It's very simple, but I do think that it looks nice. And our upstairs hallway, kind of the same thing, you know, simple but nice. And of course our bathroom, our blue bathroom. Also, I just cluttered it a little bit, and yeah, I just used, I think, mostly base game items though, except for the counters, which are actually matching with downstairs. And here we have our primary bedroom. I really like the way that this one turned out. I'm really glad that even though it took us a while, we did figure out the right swatches. And here I also put in a bunch of clutter on the desks. And yeah, I feel like the clutter is very teacher themed. I think I had already figured out that I wanted them to be like a teacher or teachers when I did the clutter. And here we have our first kids bedroom, which I think I didn't add anything else after I finished recording. I did want it to like stay pretty simple because of the idea of like they're not really in the house anymore, they're kind of on their way out. But now we have our second kids bedroom, and this one I definitely did clutter more because we have the desk and we had that shelf next to the back door. So it did need a little bit of extra clutter to make it look more realistic. But I am really happy. I think I also added a basketball. I don't know if we saw that before. And out here I did add a rug and that little like summer drink tray. And of course our backyard. I really love this backyard. Like that pool looks so nice and so relaxing. And I also placed those plants behind the rock fountain just to add a little bit more life back there. If not, I feel like it was very, very blank. And here we have our barbecue area going into our quincho. And yeah, it's just also very fun. I feel like it is very equipped for just a bunch of teenagers to hang out. I did add a lot more seating in here, so yeah, I think that's exactly what you need. And here we have our yellow porch. Now we're getting into this house, and I just cluttered up the entryway table. I think that it looks really good. I feel like the clutter is very on theme. And here's our garage. I just added like, I don't know, kind of older looking items, and I added a shelf so that anything that you make on the woodworking table you can place on the shelves. And here we have our main kind of general living area. I just love the way that this one turned out. It's just so warm and inviting, and it feels very open, but also like there's a space for each thing. And here we have our half bath. Yeah, it's a little bit different from the other one, but you know, same vibe. Same with the hallway. It's like a little bit different, but has the same energy. And the bathroom too. It's just like a warmer version of the other one. And yeah, I made this one a little bit more organized because I felt like this house was maybe a little bit more organized. And here we have our primary bedroom. I do really like those portraits that I put around that other painting. My grandma's house kind of had portraits like that, like framing pretty much everything in the house. It's just like a lot of family portraits like that. And I just thought it was really cute and very fitting. Just reminded me of her. And here we have our office space. I don't think I added anything. This one was already looking pretty good. There's also not a lot of room to add anything else. So yeah, I really like those kind of beaded curtains that came with the new pack. Those look really cool. And yeah, I feel like they definitely give off like therapist office vibes. And here we have our kids' bedroom. I really like how this room turned out. I really love the mix of the blue and the teal, or sorry, not the blue, the pink and the teal. I think that those two colors work so well together, and they also have like a lot of hearts, kind of like the other kids' room. So yeah, maybe they're all friends. That would be really cute. They all get together and hang out at each other's pools. And I do love their little balcony as well. It's very simple. And here we have our backyard. I don't know if I added too much. I think I just added a little drink tray as well. I think that's very nice to have. And here we have our little quincho with the barbecue. The yellow one has one as well. And here is the little inside. But yeah, these are going to be like the last spaces we see. I can't believe that we finally got through it. But I do really hope that you guys enjoyed this build as much as I did. This was just so nostalgic for me. Bye buds, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Comment and share with your friends. Talk to y'all soon. Bye!